Transition, go.
Okay.
Apologies for the delay, everyone. Once again, sabledragonrook with all bosses, the Pathless.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for having me, everybody. I am sabledragonrook. You can call me Sable. And this is the Pathless. Up in the top left-hand corner, you see we've got Morty joining us. He is my blue tongue lizard, and he will be hanging out. I'm not going to keep us hold up on the title screen, so timing is going to start when I delete all these autosaves and we start again from the beginning. So I will give you a countdown. We are going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. So hello everyone, this is the Pathless. Relatively new game, just came out, I do believe it was December 2020, from the same people who made Abzu. So if you're familiar with Giant Squid, they were the people behind this. Lovely folks. And the goal of this run is going to be to defeat all bosses. Inasmuch as a speed run is, you know, doing things the intended way, that's what we're going to be doing. You know, we're completing this game as intended, in quotes, by, you know, completing all of the required tasks. We're not skipping any bosses, we're not, you know, we're not cheating our way to the end of the game or anything like that. We're progressing as normal. So we are this pilgrim. We're going to this island to check out kind of what's happening, because we get the impression that the gods who live here are not quite right. They're maybe sick or something. Something has happened that's not right. And so we're gonna go check out what's going on. We're gonna make sure that they're okay. And I think we're going to find out that they're kind of not. So as far as tech for this game, right? We don't quite have everything that we're going to have yet. But most important thing to note is I have a bow. And I can shoot things. And that's what I just did. So you'll see that I have a stamina bar at the bottom. It refills when I shoot these targets. Or talismans. And then as I run, you know, obviously it depletes. So our goal is to constantly be shooting talismans. That's going to take strategic shots with the bow to make sure that I don't miss. If I miss, I don't get stamina. If I don't get stamina, I don't get to run, and I go slow. Slow is bad for a speed run. We found our first god here. She's not feeling so great. They're supposed to be blue. And so she's pointing me to this tower, and she's saying, hey, that thing is making me feel gross. Can you maybe, like, take this key and go turn it off? And I'm like, yeah, sure, bird friend. I like you. I'll go turn it off. So she's gonna chill. We're gonna... Somehow I actually still had stamina there. We're gonna go and do as she asks, but first... we need to make a quick pit stop. Right here. For this tool that we're basically never going to use. It's an important part of the game if you're playing casually. It's this little visor that we can put on, and it lets us like see through walls and see landmarks even when they're obscured from view. But for the sake of a speedrun, not really going to be using it except to walk through these kind of mystical walls like this. The reason that we don't use it is because you can't run while you're wearing it. And again, slow is bad, so we gotta make sure that we're always moving. The movement in this game is super fluid, super fun. If you've never heard of this game or haven't had the chance to play it yet, highly recommend it. It's super satisfying. Alright, I'll shoot that target to release the talisman that was behind that, like, magical barrier. And these talismans that I'm collecting are used to turn off these towers that are, you know, outputting this evil energy. And this, in essence, is the goal of the game, right? There are towers. They're spreading this corrupted energy. I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna go turn them off. I'm gonna, you know, change them back to the way that they're supposed to be. And we're gonna do that repeatedly throughout the game to reverse the corruption of all of the gods who live in this land. For right now, the towers only take one sigil, one talisman, whatever you'd like to call it. Technically they're called light stones. They only take one right now to turn off. Later, they'll take more. And we get them from solving puzzles. So this is, in many ways, a puzzle platformer, if that's your kind of game. I hit the the pillar there. Now the good news is, we will get more movement options as we go on. And in fact, this is still kind of just the tutorial area. Alright. One more tower. And then hopefully we can get that eagle god to be feeling a little bit better. The gods are called tall ones in this world. And she is the first of the tall ones that we meet. She's actually the mother of all of the other tall ones that we're going to encounter. So it's not great that she's also feeling bad. She's kind of supposed to be watching out for everybody. Alright, final tower. Now you'll see that when all of the towers in an area are purified, they're going to resonate together and use their pure energy to try to cleanse the god that lives there. So she's, you know, she's not feeling great. But maybe, you know, she's feeling a little bit better. We're gonna go and check on her, see how she's doing, and she's gonna give us a little bit of exposition about what we can expect as we go through this run. I couldn't get my cutscene trigger. Just zoom right past her. Alright, so we kind of concluded the purification ceremony. She's feeling pretty good. Don't worry, all of the tall ones have that big hole in them somewhere. So she's feeling a lot better. She's gonna go on ahead and we're gonna meet up with her in just a minute. These are all the other gods that we're going to encounter. So this guy's basically the reason that we're here. If you couldn't tell by his color scheme and general design, he's the bad guy. He's the one who's been corrupting all the gods. Yeah, this should be available on PC. I believe it's PS4, PS5, and PC. And as I said before, if you haven't heard of this, and this is your kind of style of game, super recommended. I could not put this down once I started playing it. So as this eagle mother is describing, the Godslayer is going up to this lava isle in the sky to become a dark god. We don't have what we need yet to go up there. The first thing we need to do is go to this tower, which is currently, like, in view. But it's surrounded by a dark cloud that's going to prevent us from climbing it. So in order to climb the tower, we have to defeat the gods who are represented on the tower. We see these 3 with symbols on the tower. As we defeat them, it will unlock portions of the tower until we can head up ever closer to that island. As for why the Godslayer wants to become a dark god, you actually learn a lot of the story through talking to, like, spirits. You'll see a lot of blue orbs on the ground that are basically people's spirits that are trying to give us some story. But the Godslayer wants to remove all of the other gods and become one god himself because he thinks that that just makes salvation really easy. If you have one god to choose from, simple. And this is Pickles, everyone. He's called Pickles by me. And now he's called Pickles by all of you as well. He's my buddy, and he is going to be coming with me for the rest of the run. So as I pet Pickles here, this would probably be a great opportunity to talk about a donation incentive that we have. There we go. So I can pet Pickles at any time. I know that my host is with me checking out, seeing if we got any donations to this wonderful cause. With the right donation, you can make me pet Pickles at any time.
Rest assured, I will be watching those donations like a hawk. Sorry, I had to.
I like it. And how much did we settle on for a Pickles pet?
I believe every $5 will be good for a Pickles pet.
Fantastic. So Pickles and I will hang out and we'll be solving these puzzles together. Pickles is, and I'm pretty sure that he's literally just called, like, the bird. But yeah, he's Pickles, come on, you know? So he and I are gonna be working together. For example, you know, he can carry these heavy weights and push these pressure plates for me. And then the door can somehow not open. I don't know why it's not open. Pickles. Pickles, help. Why isn't the door opening? Oh, because I'm dumb. You know, I'm dumb. Mostly it's that I'm dumb. 2 in the morning, okay? Shoot the door, then it opens. I promise I got like an hour of sleep before this run. So yeah, there are a bunch of puzzles that Pickles can help me with. And there are also a bunch of puzzles that I have to solve on my own. All of the puzzles, though, are going to have this diamond that tells me how many steps I need to complete. Once both diamonds are illuminated, I can progress. Another important aspect of this run, I'm actually going to use this mask again, is that sometimes Pickles gets real scared and he says, no, not helping until you solve my problem. His problem is these spooky statues. Whenever he sees these statues with the 3 eyes that look like the Godslayer, Pickles is going to be totally out of commission until I turn that off. So for now, I've got to just operate on my own here. Thankfully, this one is very simple to turn off. I will zoom Pickles unintentionally through a wall to get this weight a little bit early. This is map of what the entire world looks like, and we're not really gonna pay attention to it. Alright, now, here's hoping that we don't get a glitch here and we can just progress like normal, but Pickles is teaching me that he is a big, strong burb, and hopefully he can carry me. And this will sort of add to our movement repertoire, right? Now I have a bird that can fly me places, so that really expands what we can do. Leave that there, dude.
Pickle certainly is a big, strong burb, and we also just got a $5 donation from One-Eyed Deacon who said, "Pet the burb."
Oh,
Also
yeah.
default.
Alright, I will do that as soon as I have the opportunity. We've got this little cutscene. So we have exited the tutorial plateau down here, and we are heading to all of these places that you can see in the background. And as for, by the way, why I have Pickles, the eagle mother, right, wasn't feeling good. She got corrupted again. Whoa, that was a weird physics bounce. She got corrupted again. And let's give Pickles some good belly rubs while we're at it. There we go. Thank you, Deacon. Really, I shot that tiny little tree. So anyway, the eagle mother got sick again, and she's like, you know, I'm too weak for this. So instead of letting herself be consumed by this darkness from the Godslayer, she just kind of reincarnated herself into Pickles. So in many ways, I've got a literal god with me, helping me out. That's probably why he's so strong, right? And we picked up some, I suppose you could call them experience crystals. I call them goobers. That leveled us up enough to be able to flap. So now Pickles can carry me vertically and horizontally. We get one flap for now. As soon as I touch the ground, that one flap comes back. And every time that we beat a boss, we will get an additional flap. So we'll get more and more maneuverability as the run continues. And so this guy is the first actual boss that we are going to encounter. As per normal, we are going to collect some sigils, some light stones from these puzzles to turn off the towers. Because the towers are corrupting him, and we need to purify him. By turning off the towers, we make him weak, we make him vulnerable, so that when we can fight him, we have the chance of actually helping him. Where'd you go, Pickles? There you are. You just took a little detour. Alright, so I'll touch down just to get this flat back, enough to get up to the top here. And thankfully in this first area, once again the towers only take one sigil to turn off. This will be the final area where that's true. From now on it will start taking two. So we will need to solve more puzzles. Oh no! I get to play this game more. It's a fantastic game. So this is a great opportunity to talk about the cloud, which you see hanging out over there. Cernos, the first boss, and all future bosses as well, are going to be hidden inside this giant cloud of curse. The cloud is a huge RNG element to this run. It will follow you, it will chase you, and it will make you restart. Because if you get sucked into that cloud, if it catches you, you will start a stealth sequence. Even if you choose to just immediately get caught, it takes a ton of time. So we want to avoid those stealth sequences wherever possible, which means we want to avoid the cloud wherever possible. If the cloud should chase me, or should teleport to a place where I am, I'm just going to exit back to the main menu, because that's going to make the cloud go away. That's the best way that we have right now of dealing with it. Because getting caught is a big no-no. Getting caught initiates the stealth sequence. Even best case scenario, Pickles is going to catch on fire. And we don't want our bird friend to be on fire. So the cloud is just bad news. But we never know what he's going to do, so it makes for a different run every time that we do it. Pickles? There you are. He's being a little bit of a weirdo today. Alright, so that's a hoop puzzle. You have to shoot through a certain number of hoops in order to unlock the sigil. Thankfully, in that case, it was just one, and that's very simple. Later on, we'll be shooting through 2 or even 3 hoops. And I did also complete a torch puzzle earlier. I can shoot my arrows through torches and it will light them on fire and let me light other torches with my flaming arrow. Some of my favorite puzzles are of that type. And it looks like the cloud, he's feeling a little bit trolly today. He's kind of directly in front of where I want to be. I'm gonna try to skirt around the left side and not make him angry. But we'll see how he feels about that. This is really not a great place for him to be, because being forced to walk on the ground here, there's a lot of really yucky, like, up and down cliff sides that we really just want to stay in the air and avoid. And I couldn't avoid entirely touching down, unfortunately, because he was kind of directly in the way of where I wanted to go. But we're close enough that I can make my way up this waterfall, which is where we want to be. Hopefully. Here we go. Alright, so despite the fact that he's right next to me, he's actually being a pretty good boy. He's not really chasing me. And we had previously already collected the sigil that we needed, so there's no need to do an additional puzzle. Puzzles are routed basically, are they in the way and are they simple? Right? Like, we won't go out of the way just for a simple puzzle. But it does have to be a puzzle that you can solve in some reasonable amount of time, right? So just like with the Eagle Mother, we have purified these 3 towers. And that's gonna resonate together and hopefully give us the opportunity to confront the boss. So Cernos inside the cloud. This actually, it just occurs to me, this is a resetless Cernos. We never reset on the cloud, which I am not going to complain about. Cernos inside here, you know, he's getting hit with all of this purifying light. And that's revealing his weaknesses, which would be those eyeballs that you saw on his legs. If I can shoot those, I can knock him down. And if I can knock him down, that means I can confront him in an actual head-to-head fight. So that's what we're going to be trying to do here. We're going to be trying to chase him and get him down on the ground as fast as we can. He is a little bit equally paced with me, so the chase is guaranteed to go on for a set amount of time. But there are definitely ways to do it faster or slower. Once I take out half of his weak points, he will temporarily get faster than me again, and there's nothing I can do about that. This music is a banger though. I love it. Now the primary concern during this chase is actually a glitch. Alright, there's the first arrow hit. If I chase him too aggressively, and this is true of any of the boss chases, not just Cernos, if I chase him too aggressively and he takes a corner or, you know, makes a sudden, like, jerky movement, he can actually kind of break the camera. And that is, it's not great, because it removes some of my movement abilities. So for example, if the camera is broken, I might no longer be able to move to the right, as an example, and not being able to move in a certain direction is kind of crippling, so we definitely, here's hoping that that never happens. It's a consequence of going so fast, basically. But he's fighting back a little bit. You will notice, however, that I don't have a health bar. Not the worst thing if I get hit. What happens to penalize you for getting hit is that you lose stamina, since you don't have health. Which, you know, is not great, because we wanna go fast. And during boss fights, if I do get hit enough, I will get thrown out of the fight. So there's definitely a consequence for getting hit too much. Alright, so we've taken out his weak spots. I'll get Pickles on duty to finish knocking him down. And now we will proceed to the bulk of the boss fight, where I will confront him head to head. I do need to be careful to stay a certain distance away from him so that he does that attack. Otherwise I could lose my opportunity to shoot him. It's very easy to get greedy during this fight and bait a swipe from him. A swipe will not provide an opportunity to attack, so it's definitely something to be avoided, but it's also very simple to accidentally get him to swipe at you. Jumps are always good. Jumps are a very simple way to make sure that you get a hit. As compared to this attack, right? Where he spends like 6 years doing things, you always want the faster iteration of whatever attack he's gonna do. That was a little bit unlucky, but... This time I am going to bait a swipe, because the swipe in this phase is the fastest move that he can do. And most of the time it doesn't even hit me, because of just how the collision works. So poor Cernos kinda took himself out there. Finished the job for us, but now that he's sufficiently weakened, we can use our purifying ritual with Pickle's power and make him feel better. So there he is. That's what Cernos is supposed to look like. So Cernos is gonna reach, like, into the spirit world and give me a spirit arrow. And I'm gonna take that and shoot it up into the sky of his realm. And that's gonna finish, like, you know, cleansing the area of the Godslayer's influence, so the sun will start shining again. Things will be able to grow. This gives you the warm fuzzies. And so that's Cernos. That's going to be, you know, the same process with the other gods. Obviously, each of the other gods is their own kind of beast, no pun intended. And we've cleared away one of the things that's stopping us from climbing that tower. So Cernos is gonna run away. It's actually really cool playing this casually or for a different category. You can actually follow Cernos, and he will take you to his own skeleton. He was defeated in battle, but his spirit is still here, and so he'll take you to his skeleton, and it is absolutely gorgeous and massive. It's like half the size of this area. Beautiful.
Do you have time for a quick question, Sabledragonrook?
Absolutely.
How much do you like petting pickles?
Oh, I love petting pickles. Feed me the pets.
Well, we had a $5 donation from Sancho Panda who says, "Caca!" Sancho out.
Perfect.
And,
Thank you,
and that's
Sandra.
not all.
Oh.
We have a $60 donation
Oh
from
my.
Hits Perk. 6 hits equals $60. Thanks again for having me. Excited for the PS5 block. Good luck, Sable.
Thank you. Fantastic. Well, I am due for some pickles pets, it would seem. I will snag those in un momento. I am, real quick, gonna try and maybe skip this cutscene, which we are still kind of trying to devise how exactly this works. It is possible to skip it, but we have not really been able to figure out why. Okay, well, we got it anyway. And that means we're owed some pickles pets once we check out who this next god is. So here's Sauro. He's gonna be the next god that we're facing. And I think that Pickles would appreciate his pets if they were spread out a little bit. So, get me through the door. I would like to maneuver through the door. So I'll spread his pets out probably after every puzzle, so that his tummy is never lacking in the good boy pets. Puzzle-wise, remember that I can put my visor on, right, to look through these mystical blue doors. And so I just put it on to make that door invisible, and then shot a flaming arrow through the door. Multi-ring puzzle there, and I am going to try to be in the air during this cutscene so that I can move freely, despite it being a cutscene. Now, Sauro is notorious for being a real booger when it comes to his cloud placement. He's currently over there. I doubt that he'll stay over there for long. Maybe Pickles' pets are the magic ingredient. And if I pet Pickles enough, he won't bother me. Oh, he coming! Pickles, get over here! Oh, we gotta give a belly rub as we face the end of the world. Okay, buddy, bye! Okay, main menu. We're gonna get this cloud to go away. Who knows where Sauro has gone now? I'm sure that won't be the last time that we see him. Alright, you know what? He's actually hanging out over there, and I'm not gonna complain about that. I'm gonna give Pickles another glorious pet in the hopes that Sauro leaves me alone. Let's spend some time and maybe get Sauro to move. Because anytime we have to reset, you know, this category, and all categories of this game are timed in real time, so anytime that we have to reset, you know, that's something we want to avoid if possible. But Sauro kind of makes that decision for us. He is, however, knock on wood, being kind of nice. The first reset that we did was sort of expected. He often interferes there. Once again, shoot through the hoops. Pickles? 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 Where's my bird? Where's Pickles? Buddy! Okay, he came back. I've never had that happen before. Wow, he just took a vacation for a hot second. I'm gonna pretend that he took a vacation because I'm going so blindingly fast that he couldn't keep up. That's what I'll tell myself. Alright, buddy.
Or maybe he's protesting until he gets more of the pets.
So many pets, dude! Actually, if you pet him for long enough, yeah, he starts to glow. We'll get a glowy pet going for that juicy $60. So this puzzle is not meant to be solved this way, but careful manipulation of that angle lets you just skip the entire thing basically. Sauro's angry again. And I need to go to this tower here, so I need to run directly into Sauro, which means, unfortunately, another quit to main menu. He's kind of directly in my way. I would very much like to move forward. Thank you. An occasional glitch that happens. Oh, Pickles is swole. Pickles is so swole. Sauro, buddy! I love you, my man, but, like, you're getting a little clingy, okay? Okay, if I can make it to the top of this tower before Sauro bothers me, he will go away. Lighting up a tower automatically makes the cloud move. Oh, but good. Good. So he moved directly into the place that I need to go. There is no getting around it, so I will have to kick him out. Because we need to go to this tree. Tharo, where are you? I do not trust you a single ounce. Oh, I'm so surprised. Really? You came over to the tree anyway? This, my friends, is the dictionary definition of a troll. But Sauro's a good boy. I can't be angry with him. Alright, so we have 2 more towers to unlock. They now take 2 sigils each. Which means we need a total of 4, and we currently have 3. We gotta solve 1 more puzzle. And thankfully there happens to be one on the way to one of the towers. We're gonna stop and snag that when we have the chance. In the meantime, maybe Sauro can find a hobby that's not just pestering me and leave me alone for a second. Alright, we need to regen some flaps. It is worth noting that the first flap, the one that we got at the very beginning of the game, does regen as soon as I touch the ground, but any additional flaps beyond that take a small cooldown in order to come back. Alright, so there's the final sigil we need. Arrow is finally off minding his own business. Pickles! Buddy, he's just like not here again. I've never had that happen. He's like super distracted. But we have all the sigils that we need. Alright. Oh look! Look at where Sauro is. I'm so surprised. Oh, thanks, buddy. I take it all back. You're a good boy. He moved. Now, another thing that we haven't really had the opportunity to talk about yet is the types of shots that I can do with this bow. Most of the time you're going to see me fully charge these shots, which is, you know, make this diamond fully red, but I can do half shots like that, which are called trick shots or skill shots. Occasionally those will be useful. Do not chase me, buddy. I'm watching you. Skill shots will occasionally be useful, mostly in the air. They only take half a charge, so they're a little bit faster in that sense, but there's also a slow motion like element of them to make them seem cool. Like when I talked to the devs, they literally said we did that to make it seem cool. So the slow-mo kind of negates a lot of the time save from doing the skill shot. However, when you're in the air, you don't drop as far to do a skill shot as you would to fully charge a shot, so sometimes it's useful to do that. You'll see it mostly kind of in the final areas of the game that I'll be doing more skill shots. Alright, Saro, you have been one grumpy, spicy giraffe today, buddy. I'm gonna need you to calm right on down. Saro is definitely one of the ones that I worry about as far as the camera glitch. For some reason, Saro in particular seems kind of eager to make that glitch happen. And Saro, whoopsie, I did not see that fire. Saro is one of the harder ones to chase if the camera does end up breaking, so hopefully we can play this a little bit safe. Saro's a little bit different. You will see Saro only has 4 weaknesses instead of Cernus' 6. And so once again, once we get through half of them, Saro's gonna pick up speed. And the second phase of this chase is actually kind of one of the hardest of all of the bosses. The specific fireball that Saro has is really hard to avoid. It's a delayed release, like, explosion. So you have to avoid not only the initial explosion, but also the shockwave. The skill shot there was intentional. That was a use of the slow motion of the skill shot to keep me in the air a little bit longer so that I didn't collide with the fireball. But yeah, not being able to see the fireballs once they're behind you and still having to jump over the shockwave makes this pretty challenging. But that was actually a fairly decent Saro chase. Got him down before the river. And Saro's fight is quite a lot different than Cernus. Cernus was very confrontational, very fireballs. And Saro is going to be a lot more stealth and calm. Because Saro himself doesn't really have much in the way of attacks. Somehow, yeah, I got hit twice. So that's good. I do actually need to be careful not to get hit again. And I'm going to almost. Too many hits in too close a period of time is going to actually shoot me completely out of the arena, and it will restart whatever phase of the boss that I'm on, so. Couple unlucky hits, but we're good. So Saro's like, bro, I need some help. This gal is strong, and so the Godslayer is sharing some of his power. Alright, so here's our stealth boss. Am I going to try to do this in 3 cycles instead of 4? Yep. Is it gonna work? Nope, but I'm still gonna try. I don't actually know if it's possible, but it's always just, it feels so close, I have to try every time. So that's no different than solving it the way that you have to anyway. But there's a smidge of a chance, I want to believe, that we could maybe eventually skip getting hit there. I'm gonna get Pickles to go grab this piece of shelter for me. And of course, because it's a speed run, I'm gonna make sure that Pickles does not drag it or otherwise do anything any more than he has to. real spooky last little bit here. Get out here before he goes again. Fantastic. So we turned off his power sources. Now it's just a matter of confronting him one final time. Cool. I would call that a decent Sorrow, for sure. I see Mort on the top left has been just wandering around. It's good that Mort is out right now because him and Sorrow are soulmates. Sorrow is what Mort wishes he could be. Hey, buddy. So once again, just like with Cernos, he's gonna give me an arrow from the spirit world that I can use to cleanse his land and bring it back to the way that it should be. And now we've only got one more god before we can unlock this tower. The tower is going to let us climb upwards to get to a separate, like, snowy area from which we can get to the floating island in the sky, where the God Slayer is. Those two bird statues in the background there are where the tower is. So basically we need the tower because it's too high to flap, right? I mean, Pickles is strong, but he's not quite that strong. He can't carry me all the way up a mountain, right? So Sorrow's gift, in addition to the normal flap that we get after we defeat any boss, Sorrow's gift is the creation of these orange talismans. These make us go super zoom speed. So we are going to be going real fast, and we're going to route in these orange talismans whenever possible, because they are very, very good. And we will encounter those for the rest of the run now. That's a permanent gift from Sorrow. And there is actually, I do believe, a way to climb up to the next area that does not involve taking this whirlwind that I'm heading to. Current world record holder, Azama, I believe, has been working on quite a lot of stuff, including ways to get around the whirlwind, not use the whirlwind. Okay, onward and upward. We're at the next plateau. That means the next boss. I'm going to be very careful about where I walk. I would like to avoid triggering the cutscene for the boss any earlier than I have to. Ideally we skip it altogether, but we're not still entirely sure what causes us to occasionally be able to skip boss cutscenes. So I'm just going to delay it as long as possible and hope that it doesn't play. So this is a new type of puzzle. And here we'll get the scene, yeah. In the background you can see there's a pillar with a target on it. For right now, this puzzle is relatively simple. I'm gonna shoot the target, it's gonna change the face that's displayed on the pillar, and it's gonna change it to a different god. And we need to match the god on the pillar with the god on the ground. It's a matching puzzle. This one is simple. Later on, the solution will not be immediately presented to us on the floor. And so then it just becomes a matter of memorization. But we've also had the great fortune of meeting Nimue, the god of this plateau. She's lots of schnicks. And she, like Sauro, tends to be a little bit problematic when it comes to the cloud. She can really have a temperament. So we'll see. I can see her cloud over there for now. We'll see how she treats us.
Do I have time for a quick announcement?
You bet.
A new bid war has opened up, this one for Sonic CD, where you can choose what character we'll play as. Your options are Sonic or Tails.
Sonic CD. What a game. And we are still well within our gameplay ability to pet Pickles. So if you have not seen enough of Pickles' tummy rubs, $5 will get you another good belly rub. Ah, hello, Nimue. I see that you have joined in on the fun. Can you just let me finish this puzzle real quick? Please? Please, I'm asking kindly. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yahoo! Okay, the HUD went away, so hopefully we're not too late here. Okay, we are fine. It appears that the talisman has been got from that puzzle. Which was all I wanted. I didn't want to have to solve the puzzle a second time after we did the reset. So as before, Nimue will take 2 sigils for every tower to turn it off. We've already got 3. We're already doing pretty decent as far as puzzle solving goes. I think that there's still a lot of potential in this particular plateau for some refinement to be made on our route. There's a ton of puzzles in this game. And so I think it's actually very interesting. A lot of routes can work. There are a lot of runners who use completely different puzzles from each other and still get very, very comparable times. So it's nice to have like a very custom run that's still competitive. I route in one of my favorite puzzles later. And I know Azama at least used to route it out in favor of one of his favorite puzzles. Alright, so we'll glide over here to avoid having to take the chain up the tower. Now, this castle, anytime you see something surrounded by a dark cloud like this, that means that there's one of those statues that freaks Pickles out. If I touch this cloud, Pickles is gonna immediately drop me. He's gonna be like, no, I'm not doing this, sorry. So instead, I am just going to hopefully sneak my way to the top of the puzzle and just skip the entire thing. Because now, as you can see, unfortunately, Pickles is on fire. Normally we would do a reset here, but I still owe a couple pets from that $60, so we'll get Pickles feeling good this way. Good head bob, buddy. But yes, normally we would reset there, because a reset to the main menu actually makes the game forget that Pickles was on fire. And so we are in need of one more sigil. Because we have one more tower to turn off after this one. Nimue is kind of sitting on it. Hopefully she's in a good mood and we can maybe just solve the puzzle anyway. Okay. She's actually a bit more distant than it looked. As long as she doesn't teleport right over to my face, we should be pretty decent. Because the puzzle is just down here. Occasionally I will look through my visor like this, because it helps to see specific landmarks, especially if it's raining or snowing. But yeah, it seems so far like she's not really gonna bother me. And I'm certainly not gonna complain about that. Oh, sorry, Pickles. I cheated you at the last moment. So now we're introduced to these mirrors, which are another one of my favorite aspects of this run. I can glance arrows off of mirrors, which I just did to light this torch that was around a corner. And again, I'm going to move the mirror to shoot an arrow around another corner. So that we can get this lit, light that torch, and get that sigil. So that's the last one that we need. Nimue is out of the way. She really likes to teleport onto my face as I'm over on this bridge. So we'll see how she's feeling today. Depending on if or how late she teleports, I might be able to outrun her. And it might not be a problem, because you can see the tower there in the background that we're heading to. But she's also been really good, which is not like her, so it ain't over till it's over, we'll put it that way. Alright, one final tower, and then we will start this whole purification thing again, and we will be able to chase Nimue down and confront her in a fight. Her fight is unironically hard. There is a skip that could happen. We have kind of a vague idea of what causes it, but it doesn't always seem to abide by those rules. We could just skip an entire phase, which saves like a minute. It's very, very nice, but it's not really necessarily in the runner's control whether it happens. Alright, let's go chase down our giant Hydra friend over here. Nimue is definitely another one that I worry about the camera glitch. It's basically Nimue and Saro that I worry about the most. She takes a lot of really weird... You'll see her kind of skidding sometimes. She takes a lot of really weird kind of turns that can mess with the camera. So we shall see. Gaining on her quickly though. I can feel I'm getting pushed around a little bit. The camera is kind of like trying to keep me in bounds almost as I scoot across areas that are a little bit tighter than it intends for me to go. In an effort of preserving marathon safety, I'm gonna follow her as normal instead of going like I normally would over that ledge on the right. It's very out of the way and it can really create that camera problem. Because suddenly Nimue chase takes like 5 minutes if the camera decides not to cooperate, so you can see she's kinda Tokyo drifting all over the place. That was a good chase though. That was actually very decent. That probably would have been a gold if I had had splits running. So Nimue's fight is unironically hard. She can do a lot of different things with a lot of different heads. If I get hit, the phase starts over. So it does demand, you know, some level of perfection. You need to be consistent. Or you just do the same phase over and over again because she's a Hydra and she regrows her heads. First phase isn't so bad. Poor Pickles, he got nommed. So if we are lucky, this entire phase will just be skipped. Which will happen right now. So it didn't, so we have to fight Nimue like normal. Like I said, that's kind of the game's choice, whether it just randomly skips this phase. I am very much used to it not skipping that phase. Woo! That was closer than I wanted it to be. Again, if we get hit, we're starting again from the beginning of that phase, so we definitely don't want to get hit. Alright. Chase is expected. Chase is normal. 2 chases, not so normal, so hopefully we don't get a little bit unlucky with that. We'll always gladly take the swipe. So her RNG was pretty good this time. She took a couple of attacks that could have been shorter, but that was still very decent. Alright, so my best bud, my best boy Pickles, has been blown to the side of the arena. I was absolutely standing in cover. What are you talking about, Nimue? The Pickles is cacawing for me over here on the side, and I gotta get to him before the whole floor is lava thing. There we go. I got you, buddy. Caw. So we purified Nimue. She can return to the way she's supposed to be, and that is a giant schnick. As always, we get this spirit arrow to purify her land. And you can see over in the corner, finally, at long last, we have completely turned off this giant tower that we're trying to climb. Here goes the final set of eyeballs. So now the dark mist surrounding the tower is gone, and we can climb it. I'm a speedrunner though, and I'm gonna be honest, climbing the tower takes time. Which means I'm not gonna do it. We spent this entire time unlocking the tower, and then I'm not even gonna do the tower. The reason I'm not gonna do the tower is actually kind of sad. There's a very cool cutscene at the top. Also, Nimue's gift here is Master Flap Recharging. Lovely, wonderful skill that we now get to have. But at the top of the tower is a big cutscene, and story-wise, it's actually pretty important. We haven't really seen much of the Godslayer in this speedrun, but we're gonna encounter him again if we go to the top of the tower. And he's gonna show up, and he's gonna show us, like, hey, check this out. I've got this fancy sword called the Sun Sword that is insanely powerful, and there's no way that you can beat me. And so we challenge him to a fight, because, you know, what else would you do? And we find out that he is in fact correct. There is no chance that we have of beating him. So we just completely get trounced by the Godslayer, and we learn that we do not have what we need to stand up to his super powerful Sun Sword. And it's a really cool cutscene, and I wish that you could see it, but cutscenes take time. And when the other alternative is just not cutscene, that's what we're gonna do. So how do we go around the cutscene, right? Because obviously the devs intended for you to see that. The cutscene trigger is at the top of the tower. Thankfully, there's a small area where you can go outside the normal bounds of play on the side of this cliff. And so I am going to sneak through this little crack, if you will, and it will put me behind an invisible wall. Once I'm behind that wall, if I use Pickles to flap, it will push me back in bounds, and we don't want that. So I am just going to kind of be climbing my way up a mountain for a little while without the help of Pickles, so that I don't get forced back out of bounds. And this is in essence how the any percent works. You do this, you climb mountains just like this, for about 15 minutes. And in doing so, you can actually find a way to climb from the beginning of the game until this point. And so you don't have to fight the first 3 bosses in any percent. Once we get right about to here, it should be safe to flap with Pickles again without getting pushed back in bounds. And these talismans are kind of procedurally generated on any area that is eligible, so just because they're over here doesn't mean that we're supposed to be over here. Because we certainly are not supposed to be over here. And thankfully we do have that faster flap recharge that we just got from Nimue. That really helps with this area. So down there is where we would have gotten that cutscene with the Godslayer. But we are now past the trigger, and we have entered the next area without having to see it. Which is both cool and sad at the same time. Heavy snowstorm right now, so you can't really see what's happening. But we have entered the area of the final one of the Eagle Mother's children. We haven't really heard too much about him because the first 3 to unlock the tower were the main focus. He is definitely the strongest of them. And his area is by far the biggest. His area is like the size of the other 3 combined. He's a big swole boy. Like, he is ripped. And like, he's even ripped in the lore. Like, the lore says that he was just having so much fun being super strong that everybody that he tried to play with just couldn't even stand up to him, which is why there's a bunch of skeletons all over this area. He plays too rough because he's so strong. So this was another one of those turnstile puzzles. This time the answer was not just printed on the floor, so we needed to make sure that we got that right. So yeah, all of this, everything you see is Kumo's area. It is absolutely massive compared to the other ones. I bet he's moving directly to my right, because that's the kind of guy he is. Oh, to my left. And chasing me already. Okay, buddy. I'm going to try to get to just a place that I can land so that I can reset. As long as I touch the ground, it'll remember where I am. Otherwise, that entire glide was for nothing. So this right here is basically the only use of the visor thing that I have. When it's snowing very heavily and it's hard to see, I can use the visor to give me a clearer look. Alright, I see Kumo, he's like way over there. So thankfully it doesn't look like he's gonna bother me. Usually he is very bothersome during this puzzle. We're gonna line these up so that we have 3 rings to shoot through. You'll also notice that we now have access to a different kind of talisman. These light blue ones, I've already been shooting them a little bit. They're basically a free flap. I shoot the talisman, I go up the equivalent of 1 flap, which gives us much more maneuverability, desperately needed in this area. This is also the area where you will see me start to do trick shots like that. They are not easy to do, and oopsie, as you can see, we'll miss them sort of frequently. but you don't drop as far in the air doing a trick shot, which is why those are usually worth it if you're gliding a lot. Alright, it's possible to get this third one on the first shot, but it almost never happens. I think I've gotten it like twice or 3 times. Not very much. Alright, Kumo's minding his own business, being a good guy. Can't for the life of me get trick shots, apparently. Oh, suddenly he's right here. Suddenly he is here. Hi, buddy. Just mind your own business for like 1 quick second, okay? I'm almost here. He's not. Oh, he's not. Kumo, my dude. Okay, there's no way. There's no way. Oh boy. I was desperately trying to make it to the top of the tower. Because like I said before, if you can make it to the top of the tower, the cloud will dispel. So if I could have just lasted a little while longer, I could have made him go away without the reset. But we just did not have that time. Okay, I need to find this castle. There it is. Of course, it's heavily snowing and makes it very hard to see. The upcoming castle is, I would argue, the single hardest puzzle as far as amount of puzzle that you do versus the single sigil that you get. Oh, and Kumo is right below me too. Hopefully he doesn't get angry. Alright, so I'm actually gonna drop because Pickles is not gonna be willing to help me. As soon as we pass into this cloud, again, it's these statues that Pickles really doesn't like, so I'm on my own for this puzzle. This is not how you are intended to solve it, but we can use some physics to get to all these locations faster than you're intended to be able to. But it's very highly specific, and if you mess up, you basically have to start from the beginning, so here's hoping that we can get pretty lucky here. That was mostly the luck part there. Just getting onto that little ledge. There's a deer in here for some reason. What are you doing, buddy? Alright, so we have cleansed this castle of its evil influence. And that turns the whirlwind on. You can see that little orange circle down there, that's where we're going, and so of course, that's where Kumo decides to hang out. I will solve as much of this puzzle as I can before he shows up. As I think we all know, he's probably gonna show up. So I have to actually unfreeze these arches. They're frozen and so I can't shoot through them. Okay. We had no HUD, so that means that the cutscene was starting. Alright, we are almost there. One more sigil and we will be golden. Boy, I cannot make trick shots today. I am gonna blame the fact that it's like 3 in the morning for me, because I haven't made a single one. There we go.
You for too long. Can you feel me coming like a heart beating time? Keep on moving, hunting till you're mine. Temptation says to stray, but I won't let you get away. Can you feel me coming like a heart beating time? Keep on moving, hunting till you're mine. Fueled by the chase, I'll win. You know I'll never give in, give in. Can you feel me?
One and transition.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. My internet provider decided that 4:25 in the morning is not the time that I need internet, apparently. But we're back. The only thing that you really missed was that I got a tower. We're used to getting towers. No biggie. Thank you for your patience. Pickles has missed all of you dearly. But now I'm incentivized to go faster than ever before, in case my backup internet also dies. Okay, kind of low-key, really happy that I said bear with me, because Kumo is a bear. That was awful, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry, who am I kidding? I'm not sorry, that was awful. Alright, I am going to very carefully position this mirror so that it can solve both parts of this puzzle. Hello, Kumo. Please mind your own business. Okay, come on. Come on, Pickles. You can do it, Pickles. Okay. you can hear me. I don't know why my internet is doing this. It doesn't usually have this problem. I have very good internet. Well, I can see myself on stream, even though for some reason I can't hear you. Hold up. Alright, let's try that.
There we go.
Hello! It's almost like the universe says, are you sure you want to finish this?
You can definitely finish this. Go on, go for it.
I've got to
You
go
got this.
fast. I've got to go fast
Yes.
before it dies again.
The Godslayer has it out from Midwest Speedfest.
Something, I tell ya. It must be because I haven't petted Pickles enough. But we are almost done, so we are blitzing towards the end, hopefully with no further internet issues. I'm gonna land very quickly to recharge my flaps. Alright, and this is the final tower. We just gotta blaze through Kumo and get to the end. Cool. So at this point, I think we all know what's happening, right? We're gonna get Kumo trapped inside a little triangle of purification. And then we're gonna chase him, and then we're gonna fight him. I saw my internet buffering for a second, and I was like, don't you even. Don't you dare. Alright, so Kumo's chase isn't really so bad. Not only because of the layout of his land, but also just because of his attacks. His attacks aren't really that bad. They're unpredictable, for sure. But they're still not as hard to evade as, for example, Sauro's delayed burst fireballs. However, Kumo does have a lot of eyeball weaknesses. So that is something to add some complication to this chase. He has 8 weaknesses. Some other bosses have had as few as 4. Gotta go fast. I'm not racing against splits anymore, I'm racing against my internet. I love how springy he is, though. Such a character. Alright, so now we start with the meteors, fireballs, whatever. They're very hard to avoid in the sense that it's very hilly here, and so you usually can't see them until they're right on your face. And again, if we get hit, we're gonna get blown backwards, we're gonna lose some stamina. It's not the end of the world like that. Especially because Kumo is just walking at this point. We're already very close to him. Once you catch him, he's actually rather slow. I don't need any further talismans to keep speed with him. Alright, and there's the chase. Pretty decent. Kumo's fight is long, but not necessarily hard. He just has many, many phases. He's gonna keep trying to shoot fireballs at me, basically, and I'm gonna keep stopping him. And every time he tries to do that, he's gonna get a little bit hotter. He's gonna start to glow. And so I need to get him to overheat multiple times, and that will be how we win this fight. The first phase is very easy. It was just that one fireball that he was trying to throw from his hand, and then he kind of gave up. That was a lot of arrows that missed for some reason. You don't usually get that many shots. So most bosses at this point, after being hit twice by pickles, would already be done for. Kumo's just getting started. He's a very thick boy. Yet more. He just won't give up. As long as I'm quick with all of these shots and don't let him take the time to attack, his fight is usually pretty consistent. Sometimes he can do an extra little body slam, which he has already done. You can see him glowing and getting hotter and hotter every time I foil his attempts. And there we go. A decent fight against Kumo. So with that, we have purified our final god. There are only 4 gods, in addition to the godmother, the eagle. And he turns out to be a giant bear. So, now, with all of our god friends purified, we have unlocked the way to get to that floating island where the Godslayer is. Which is great, because we kind of need to confront him. The problem is that, according to that cutscene that we did not watch, he still has that sun sword, and we have no chance of fighting against that sun sword. So, boy, we're gonna need to figure out something. We're gonna need to figure it out quick, or we're not gonna have any chance against the Godslayer. So the gift that Kumo gives me is a super mega flap, basically. He lets me flap. He lets me consume basically all of my flaps to do a giant lift into the air. We are going to use it a total of once, unfortunately. But now the way is open up to that floating island. And the Godslayer, of course, will be the final boss. If you would like to get in any final pets for Pickles, now is your time. Once I begin to confront the Godslayer, we will no longer be able to pet Pickles.
And just a reminder, that is $5 for every Pickles pet.
Whoa, the game is kinda feeling a little funky. Oh, hopefully we get, there's a cool glitch. When the game feels a little bit weird, which it kinda does right now, it's kinda acting up a little bit. Sometimes during the final fight, it will just spawn like an entire spinal column above my face. It's the weirdest thing. I hope that happens. Alright, this ascent is the final call. Anybody who wants Pickles pets. We've already had quite a few. Thank you so much for your generosity. We even got that gold belly rub. So there's the big old flap to get me to the top.
In right at the wire, we have a $5 donation from, I'm sorry what I'm about to do to your username, Young Thunfish, who says, "Dog, cat, burb, doesn't matter, pet it."
Yeah. We got, let's get another gold pet going here for Pickles right before the end. Thank you so much. It all goes to a good cause, which is not only petting Pickles, which is a good cause in its own right. Alright, so that concludes our Pickles pets, but that doesn't conclude our time with Pickles, don't worry. So there's his sun sword, which is still a problem. And so this is why we can't pet Pickles anymore, unfortunately. He's kind of a giant angry bird right now. This section is very particular for a speed run. Pickles is going to be keeping an eye out for me, and he can catch me and he can knock me backwards, and it's very, very bad. So what we are going to do is get his attention like this step into the shadow where he cannot hurt me. However, there's a very specific way to step into those shadows so that you don't stagger. Normally, when you walk into the shadow, the pilgrim will kind of take like a big lunge forward because she's exhausted and hurt. And I'm going to hide from him at that point so that he does not take a dive at me and we don't spend that extra little bit of time. But I will let him see me here because the stretch to this final rock is very, very long. I need him to give me a little bit of extra time. But yeah, we are just very carefully walking into those sheltered areas so that we don't trigger that animation to stumble. She takes, like, seriously, like 10 seconds or something to stumble. We did actually get the stumble here, which is fine. Like, of the places to get it, this is actually the one that doesn't matter. Because the distance to the rest of the puzzle is very short, so... So there is a shrine to all of the other gods that we have saved at the top of this tower. Which is great, because at this point, we're basically out of options. We know that we need help because we're not strong enough to face the Godslayer on our own. So we're gonna be like, hey, everybody, all my animal friends, can you, like, help me, please? And they'll be like, yeah, sure, I suppose. You helped us. And so they are gonna present me with a bow from their world, from the spirit world. And this is gonna be the moon bow, which is the antithesis, as you might expect, of the sun sword. With this moon bow, we can actually confront the Godslayer.
Kivator! Jajitan Maza Kiva! Shuvatan Sahil!
And so again, right, why is the Godslayer doing what he's doing? Well, because to him, like, he's actually kind of a sympathetic villain, right? Because to him, he doesn't like that it's not clear what the path to salvation is, because there's so many gods, there's so many, you know, options, it makes it unclear for people. So he just wants to remove all of the confusion. He wants to remove all of the gods and just become the one god. So it's like, this is the one way that you can be safe. And then everybody's clear, everybody's good, you know? It's the one path to salvation. And so that's why he's doing what he's doing. He's trying to become a god and crowd out the other gods so that there is some clarity. So I'm just doing my best here to keep him from gaining a bunch of power, right? Like, he's trying to ascend, I'm trying to stop him. Pickles is trying to stop me, unfortunately. Don't you remember all the belly rubs, buddy? So Pickles here, like, attacking me is actually, like, not good. We do need to be really careful about that. If Pickles hits me enough, I will go just flying out of the arena. It does not take much of an attack from Pickles to send me flying. And that starts the phase over, it wastes a lot of time on its own. We definitely don't want to do that. So every time that he tries to siphon this power, right, we gotta try to stop him as soon as possible. But every time he is kind of succeeding for a little while, which is not good for us. And Pickles is really not helping. Pickles is just slowing us down. That bait actually worked. I am thoroughly surprised. It's very hard to bait him into that sword attack. There's no way he'll do it again. Yeah. Pickles, buddy. Enough with the claws. Ooh, boy. That was a good hit from Pickles. Not a good hit for me. Hopefully we can get this final hit off quickly. Yeah, there we go. So every time that he's sucking in this power, as he's making it harder, you know, it's becoming harder to defeat him. Because we need the eagle in order to defeat him. The eagle is what purifies things. So we had to be helping our friend at the same time that we were fighting him, which means we couldn't devote our full attention to him, and he was able to ascend anyway. And now he's that thing, which is probably, you know, not great for us. So the only solution that I, as the player character, have is to take Pickles' curse into myself. Right? We couldn't purify him, and we need him. We need his help in this fight. So I need to take the curse into myself. Unfortunately, unlike the other gods, I don't have towers and sigils and all of the stuff that can help me, so I'm not looking too good now that I'm cursed. And so much like all the other gods, I'm now trapped inside this big cloud of curse, and I have to find my way out in order to finish the fight. And finding my way out entails remembering where I came from, both literally and figuratively. It is not easy to navigate this in a speedrun sense. Because imagine a circle, right? And you're in the center. If you want to go to one place on the outside, if you're slightly off when you start in the center, you're going to be way off by the time you get to the outside, right? So this section is an easy way to lose time. Because there's no visual cues. Once you get past the things right here that you can look at, there's no visual cues. I'm calling for Pickles. I'm trying to get his help in figuring out where the heck I'm supposed to go. And I'm also looking for Pickles, right? You know, I just helped him. I just took the curse. But I also need to, like, find him and finish the fight with the Godslayer. Alright, so hopefully... Yeah, fantastic. That was a really, really good cloud section. We were basically spot on for all of these. The Pickles is calling back to me now. I know where he is. And my moonbow, you know, it wasn't enough. I couldn't stop the Godslayer from ascending, even with the moonbow. But I found Pickles. We can do it as long as we're together. So the rest of the gods that I've helped recognize that I can't beat this on my own. The moonbow by itself isn't good enough. So they're gonna lend me their power too, and we're all gonna fight together. Caw. Oh, are we gonna get the spine? Give me the spine! Dang it! The game delayed a little bit, and I was really hoping we were gonna get that visual glitch. It's the weirdest thing. So, for those who are on staff for this marathon, I should point out that we are in the final fight, and I am going to come ahead of estimate by quite a lot. Sorry. But I wanted to give you some warning so that we can maybe be ready on time soon. We did get the double shot onto that hand, which is fantastic. That's the best that we can do in that particular phase of the fight. That arrow will actually arc back around. I am not sure how I got hit. Oh, it's not good that I'm getting hit so much. Could you stop, buddy? He is being a real powerhouse today. I really cannot get hit again. I've never been hit enough in this final phase to throw me out, but I bet that it's possible. Laser beam! Wow, why was that at the edge of the arena? Jeez, he is being just a real monster. Alright, again, that arrow will come back around. And there's the other arrow that came around. Ended up doing him in. Alright, we're getting close to time. If we could get ready on the timer. Time will stop when Pickles delivers the final hit. I will call it out for you. Ready! And... almost there. Time. So that was the Pathless all bosses. We have defeated this final boss. My internet hung in there for the final little bit. Sorry about that. But this is a wonderful, fantastic game if you have not played it. Even now that you know the story, there's so much more to discover in the world itself, and it is just a joy to play. Highly recommend it. So the Godslayer is explaining here what I said before. With no clear path, people won't find salvation. And so the moral of the story, right, is you have to find your own way. And that's why it's called the Pathless, because there is no path that works for everybody. Bye! So there's a little bit more cutscene here, and we are well ahead of estimate, so I'm assuming that it's alright to just watch it real quick. Yeah, I'm still cursed, by the way. Don't forget about that. So all of the gods, right? They all just poured themselves into my bow to help me fight. So they like don't exist anymore, I think. This whole land is now just empty. Which is bad for all of the stuff that lives there because now there's nothing to keep them safe and to provide for them. But I've still got Pickles. He's still okay. And remember, he is the reincarnation of the mother of all the other gods. So he can go out and start this world over again. It's because we gave him belly rubs. That's why he's so powerful. So there you go. That was the Pathless. Thank you so much for hanging out, everybody, and for being patient during the internet blips. I don't know why that happened, but we finished. We made it. And so thanks for having me. Thanks for having Morty. And thanks for all of the donations for all of the Pickles pets. We are supporting a very good cause, and I'm glad that Pickles was able to help with that a little bit. Check out this game if you haven't. We have a speedrun Discord as well as just the general Giant Squid Discord. In the meantime, get hype for the next run, which I think is Bug Snacks, right?
That it is. Well, thank you again, Sabledragonrook. You overcame the God Slayer and the Internet Slayer to make this happen.